I lost my marriage in front of my coworkers.
I never expected a wedding invitation to make me question where my loyalty truly belonged. When it arrived, it looked elegant and harmless, the kind of envelope that usually brings excitement. Instead, it brought silence, confusion, and a choice I never thought I would have to make. The morning started normally. My wife had already left for work, rushing out with a quick kiss and a reminder to water the plants. I made coffee, sorted the mail, and opened the envelope without a second thought. My brother's name stood proudly at the top, followed by his fiancée's. I smiled until I noticed something missing. Only my name was written there. At first, I assumed it was a mistake. Weddings are chaotic, lists get mixed up. But the longer I stared at that single line, the more uneasy I felt. We had been married for years. My wife wasn't a stranger or a new addition. She had hosted holidays, helped care for my parents when they needed it, and showed up consistently even when it wasn't easy. I called my mother, expecting her to laugh it off and promise to fix it. Instead, her voice became cautious. She spoke about limited space, complicated dynamics, and how stressful weddings were. She avoided saying my wife's name entirely. That avoidance told me everything I didn't want to believe. When my wife came home that evening, I handed her the invitation. I watched her expression change as she read it twice, then a third time. She didn't get angry. She didn't raise her voice. She just looked confused, then quietly hurt. That hurt hit me harder than any argument ever could. She asked if it was a mistake. I told her the truth, what my mother had said. She nodded slowly, trying to stay composed, but I could see her pulling inward, protecting herself from something that felt personal and cruel. That night, she cried in the bedroom while pretending she wasn't. I sat on the edge of the bed feeling like I had already failed her. The next day, I confronted my brother. He avoided me at first, but when I finally got him to talk, the truth came out in fragments. Someone in the family had spread a story, something my wife supposedly said months ago, something disrespectful and damaging. No one had bothered to ask her if it was true. They just accepted it. The accusation made no sense. It didn't match who she was. When I pushed harder, the story unraveled. A relative admitted they exaggerated a harmless comment, motivated by jealousy. But the damage was done. What shocked me wasn't just the lie, but how quickly my family believed it. I told my brother I wouldn't attend the wedding without my wife. Not as an ultimatum, but as a fact. If she wasn't welcome, neither was I. He accused me of being dramatic. My parents said I was making things difficult, but none of them could explain why excluding her felt acceptable in the first place. At home, my wife tried to convince me to go without her. She didn't want to be the reason I missed my brother's wedding. That only made me love her more and solidified my decision. I told her that marriage meant choosing each other publicly, not just privately. If I showed up alone, I would be silently agreeing that she was disposable. She didn't argue after that. She just hugged me and cried again, softer this time. Days passed. Then apologies started coming in, hesitant and incomplete. My parents realized they had acted on gossip. My brother admitted he should have defended her instead of avoiding conflict. His fiancée finally acknowledged her insecurities played a role. It didn't erase the hurt, but it opened the door. A new invitation arrived a week later, addressed properly. My wife held it for a long time. When she finally opened it, she didn't smile. She said thank you, but she also said trust doesn't rebuild itself overnight. Before the wedding, there were long, painful conversations. My wife spoke honestly about how rejected she felt. No one interrupted her this time. We attended the wedding together. There was tension, but there was also effort. Apologies were quieter, more sincere. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. As I watched my wife laugh with relatives who had once doubted her, I felt proud, not because everything was fixed, but because she handled it with a dignity I wasn't sure I could have managed myself. On the way home, she asked if I regretted standing up to my family. I didn't hesitate. I told her no. That some moments define your marriage more than any vow ever could. That invitation taught me that family isn't just who shares your blood. It's who protects your partner when they're not in the room. It's who asks questions before passing judgment, and who is willing to admit they were wrong. We walked through that experience scarred but united. And in the end, that mattered more than anything. I learned exactly what kind of husband I wanted to be and exactly where my loyalty belonged.